Hey there, friends. So, I did a thing last month that I am excited to share with you all this month. And I wanted to give you some explanation as to why it exists and tell you a little bit about what I learned doing it, because it turned out to be a really great experience. Hi, my name is Drex. I'm a poi dancer who lives in the Washington, D.C. area. And I spent the last month choreographing 30 seconds of poi dance every single day for 30 days. With an asterisk, but we'll get to that. So a lot of you have probably noticed that there hasn't been much going on in this channel now for the past month, and that wasn't because of a lack of activity. It was because there was a big project going on and I needed to wrap it up before I could get back to posting regularly, and this is that project. So why did I do this thing, and more importantly, why do I feel the need to make a video about it now? Well, because it turned out to carry with it some really important and intense lessons, and I learned quite a bit about myself and why I do the things that I do in the process. So first up, how did this come about? I've seen lots of channels do things like, 30 days of flow, 30 days of tricks, things like that. And they seem to be pretty good for like building engagement and, creating anticipation from the audience for the next thing that they're going to post. Hell, I've done 30 days of flow things before. But the thing is, I'm kind of over the idea of just like doing flow, of just doing improvisations, because I've been finding that working on choreography requires an entirely different type of discipline. And I've really been enjoying the things that come out of that. And really this came about because there was a day when I went out and choreographed something, and before I could post it on my Instagram, I had a conversation with my girlfriend and kind of just said off the top of my head, wouldn't it be funny if I did 30 days of choreography? And I figured, well, why not have that be the first day? And so the process began. At first it was just, let's see if I can get through a week choreographing something every single day. And when I got through a week, I was just like, okay, well, if I get to 2 weeks, I'm already halfway through. And before I knew it, I was committed and I was fighting for the time to choreograph every single day. Now this actually turned out to be a really big challenge because this was right in the middle of the Thanksgiving season. And so finding time to be able to choreograph every day rapidly turned into a much bigger challenge than I was expecting. I also quickly discovered there were some major logistical hurdles because it was getting colder out and I needed to find ways to make my studio in my living room work for more energetic dance than I usually do in there. Usually I'm just shooting tutorials and the like, and I don't have to move around that much. That changed very rapidly. And then a bunch of things happened that I wasn't expecting. So one of the first things that popped up was I started noticing patterns in the way that I choreograph, kind of go-to things that I would do when I just wasn't sure what to do next in the choreography, kind of filler ideas that I'm just kind of like, okay, this has worked in the past, this will work here. And there were several times when I very consciously made a choice to not do those things. And all of a sudden, the choreography that I created as a result wound up being really interesting in ways that I wasn't expecting. And I'd also made the choice very early on that I was going to sit on the stuff that I was choreographing. You may have noticed that none of this stuff has been published over the course of November and December. And there was a reason for that, namely that I wanted to see what it was going to be like to create a bunch of choreography where the only audience was really myself and maybe one or two close friends. And I really wasn't prepared for what I discovered in the course of doing that. Number one, it really freed me up in some ways because as soon as I knew that the choreography wasn't to like go viral or to try and accumulate more audience, I started doing things like picking out pieces of music that I personally liked rather than stuff that I thought was going to be popular. I also rapidly found that the choreography I was writing turned into a kind of journal and reflected the things that I was feeling or going through on a given day. And sometimes it was just an escape. Sometimes it was just my way of being able to do something creative on a day that was otherwise pretty poopy. But I think one of the biggest revelations came about 2 weeks into the process. I actually went for a hike and sat down and journaled and reflected a bit on how the experience was going for me. whether I was getting what I wanted out of it, and more importantly, whether I wanted to continue doing it, because after all, I was under no obligation to finish it up. And some dots connected for me, and I suddenly realized that so much of the content that I have put online in the past, really my entire career, has had something both positive as well as negative at its root. Namely, there was definitely this idea that I had in my head that at some point, if I was influential enough, if I was seen enough, if I was popular enough in the poisphere, that somehow it was going to make what I was doing seem valid, seem relevant. There are people I have in my life who have gone pretty far out of their way to make me feel as though the choices I have made in my life are not valid ones. That creating a YouTube channel, spinning props, and making that my entire job, career, and mission in life is something that is laughable, something that's ridiculous, something that is shameful. And there's definitely a part of me that over the years has thought that, man, if I can just show how powerful the work I'm doing is, it'll convince those people that what I'm doing is valid, that I deserve their respect. And the wildest thing I realized in the course of doing all this was that I was never going to earn their respect, that they had already decided a long, long time ago that what I was doing was not worthy of respect, and therefore nothing in the world I could do would change that. And that was a really powerful revelation to me, not just because it had an impact on how I thought about my relationship with those people in my life, but also because there were some really powerful impacts there with other people in my life too, namely people in my audience. It did dawn on me that I've sought the approval of some people in the poi world by very self-consciously trying to write choreography to impress them now for some time. And you know what? I'm never going to earn their respect either. They've already decided that that's not an outcome that they're going to grant me. There's a bunch of people out there that all they want to see is me return to tech spinning. And so nothing short of that will ever be something that they respect from me. Never, ever. So with that in mind, the question becomes, what do I do with this then? Because when push comes to shove, the stuff that I've embraced with dance, and more specifically poi dance, feels like something that is actually authentic to me. It feels like there is something inside of me trying to get out. There's this touch of the divine where when I listen to a piece of music, I will see in my head the movements that go with it. And there's always this part of me that is in a rush to try and get what's on the inside outside as soon as possible and create something beautiful in the process. And that's something that I'm realizing I really like about myself, and something that is important to me, and something I don't want to let other people take away from me. And so these daily choreography videos turned into something kind of interesting for me. They turned into a way for me to be able to express who I am and what I am without fear of judgment, without the critics, both internal and external, kind of weighing me down. And that was really beautiful, and it felt really helpful. There are some things in this bunch that are mediocre, some things that I think are really beautiful, some things I really wish I'd had more time to work on, and at least one thing that is so raw and so emotional and so true that I cannot watch it. It's just too painful. But I think I can safely say that there's at least one good idea in everything that I created over the course of those 30 days. And I'm really proud of that, and now I want to share them with the rest of the world. So I'm thinking this is actually half of the process. Talking about how I got here, what I created, why I'm sharing it with you all. And also too, I'm going to come back after I'm done sharing all these videos, and I'm going to talk about how it feels now having them out in the public. What the response was. Did it change the way I felt about any of these videos? And I hope you'll be back here at the end of the month to find out with me what that process was like. But for right now, enjoy, and let me know what you think of all these. The first video should be up now. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you every day for the next 31 days. Yes, there's an asterisk there, because the final video of the series, I wasn't happy with how it came out, and so I decided that I needed one more that I was super proud of to put a cap on it. So, enjoy all of them, and I'll see you throughout January. Peace.